far we have programmed like what must happen when the rocket is dragged, and so whenever the rocket is flung by the user, the missile is going to be launched. Now we need to program, the missile does not know what to do when it reaches the rightmost edge, or when it hits on the spaceship. So we need to program one by one. First, let us program like what must happen when the missile reaches the rightmost edge without hitting the spaceship, I mean. So we'll be dealing with the spaceship collision in the later part. Now I'm gonna program like what must happen when the missile being launched from the rocket. See, this is the red color one you see on the screen is the missile. So what must happen when the missile reaches the rightmost edge without hitting on the spaceship? So click on missile, drag and drop. When missile edge reached block, whenever the missile reaches the rightmost edge, I'm gonna um, set its visibility to false, so that it gives the user like the missile is getting vanished. Once again, it comes back from the rocket whenever the rocket is being touched. So click on missile, drag and drop, set missile visibility to false. So if we don't assign this particular value, like assigning a value of false to the visibility, what will happen is it will go to the rightmost corner and it will get struck for 1 second before it comes back to the normal X and Y position of the rocket. So we don't want that to be seen on the screen. So in that part, I'm gonna change its visibility to false. Click on missile. After it has been invisible, it's going to come back to the normal X and Y position of the rocket. So drag and connect, set missile X to the X position of the rocket. So click on rocket, drag and connect rocket X to it. And Y position, as usual, we know we need to give some incremented value so that the missile will get arranged to the center of the rocket. So click on the drop down and change the X value to Y. For Y value of missile, I'm gonna add a addition block from the math component. And add a math value along with the rocket's Y position. We all know the rocket size is less, so I'm going to give the same value which I have mentioned earlier, which is 15. And then the missile speed is going to be 0. It will stop its motion for a while. Right? So next time, initially when it reaches the rightmost edge without hitting on the spaceship, the missile is going to go invisible and stop its motion, and comes back and gets aligned to the same X and Y position. And then once again, when the user needs to flung using the rocket to launch the missile, right? So I hope you are clear with the procedure we are doing now. Now I'm going to create a procedure for what must happen when the mission collides with the spaceship. So when the missile launched from the rocket successfully hits on the spaceship, means the enemy's health is going to get reduced by the value of 10. So the ultimate aim of this game is to reduce the enemy's health before your health reaches a value of 0, right? So I'm going to program like Click on missile, drag and drop when missile collided with block. Here I'm gonna add one conditional check because there are some other probabilities the missile might collide with, like it can collide with a spaceship, or it can collide with the line coming out of the spaceship, or this alien ship. So these parts we are not gonna take care of in this particular part because we have not added any score label or anything, but maybe in future I'll try to add some scoring elements to this. But for now we are not going to deal with that collision. So simply go to the control statement, drag and connect if then. So only if the missile collides with the spaceship, I'm going to reduce the enemy's health by a value of 10. Click on logic, drag and connect an equal to symbol to the if condition, hover over other, drag and connect get other to the left hand side of equal to sign. Click on spaceship, drag it down to the last, you'll find the spaceship block, connect it to the right hand side of equal to sign, which means if the missile has collided with spaceship. So I'm gonna give a sound effect so that the user can actually get a feeling like he hits on the spaceship. So click on sound component. You can call the sound component to start playing some music. So before that we need to assign the source, since we have added two different music components under the media. So one for shoot impact, another one for mentioning that the game ends. So click on sound component, drag and connect, set sound one source to. Remember you need to place it before calling the sound component to start playing the music. First we need to mention the source and then we can ask the sound component to start playing. So click on the text under built-in blocks and give the source value as shoot impact, the same name which I have provided, shoot-impact.mp3. Right under the media file you can always go and check the name before mentioning it in an empty text string block, shoot-impact.mp3, and everything in small keys, right? And then now whenever the missile hits the spaceship, again the visibility needs to be assigned to false, and X and Y position is gonna be called once again. All the 4 steps which we have mentioned earlier in edge reach is gonna happen once again. Along with that the enemy's health gonna be reduced by some little value. So instead of specifying it once again, okay, so I'll just duplicate the entire edge reach block, drag and connect the set of instructions specified inside it, and put the missile edge read event handler into the trash. We don't need to create a procedure for this 4 set of instructions once again. Now I'm going to reduce the enemy's health by a value of 10 whenever the missile hits on the spaceship. For enemy's health, remember at the beginning of the procedure itself we have created variable. So go to variable block, drag and connect a setter block, click on the drop down and select enemy health. Click on the math block, drag and connect a subtraction block to it. Click on variable, drag and connect a getter block to the left hand side of subtraction and select global enemy health, subtracting with a value of 10. Alright, so now we have not added any labels to display the lives, so we don't need to display this kind of information. We're gonna keep everything inside a variable. If you want, you can add a lives label, But for mentioning the lives alone, we have added three different image components. So I feel adding a lives label is unnecessary, but if you want, it's always your choice. And then now I'm gonna add one more conditional statement, like what must happen if the enemy's health reaches zero. So when the enemy's health reaches zero, it means the player has won the game. So in order to program that, drag and connect if then below the previous block. Remember, you're gonna place this if then inside if the missile collides with the spaceship. So after reaching the enemy's health value of 0, when the missile collides with the spaceship, it is gonna check whether the enemy's health value is 0. For that, click on logic, drag and connect an equal to sign to the if condition, and duplicate the global enemy health. If global enemy health reaches a value of 0, and I'm gonna announce the winner by using a notifier component. Click on notifier, drag and drop a block called call notifier show message block, place it inside the then statement. So in these three blocks, I'm gonna add three empty text strings so that you can give any text value according to your choice. Add three empty text strings. I'm gonna give the message as congratulations, the enemy is destroyed or defeated or anything. The enemy is defeated. And the title as you have won. Button text as OK. And then I'm gonna disable the rocket. Initially, the rocket's touch has been enabled as soon as the user presses the start button or the screen is initialized, right? So we have enabled the rocket to be true. That is, the user can actually drag and flung or do anything he wants. But as soon as the game ends, that is when the notifier pops up, I'm gonna disable the rocket because even after the game ends, the rocket will still be enabled if you do not mention such condition. Click on rocket, drag and connect, set rocket enabled to. Click on logic, drag and drop a false value to it. So the rocket is disabled once the game ends. And now only one part that is left is the rocket collision. So when rocket is being collided with, we have n number of obstacles already added, which is the spaceship and the lines, so lines from the spaceship, etc. So I'm going to program like what must happen when the rocket gets collided with these kind of obstacles. For that, click on rocket, drag and drop when rocket collided with event handler. When rocket collided with other, so anything, like we have only two components that is gonna move, which is this spaceship and the line component. So we don't need to mention like whether it is alien or a line component once again. So whenever the rocket gets collide with any component, I'm gonna reduce the health of the player, which is being mentioned in a player health label. Click on player health. Okay, so before that we need to reduce the value in the variable we have created. So drag and drop set variable block and select player health in it. Click on the math block, drag and drop a subtraction. Then add a getter block once again to the left hand side of subtraction sign. Click on the drop down and select global player health. Click on math and add a value of 10. So the same kind of thing we're gonna repeat. Whenever any obstacle hits on the rocket, the player's health is gonna get reduced by a value of 10, and then display whatever the value been you know whatever the value been attained gonna be displayed using a player health label. So click on player health, drag and drop set player health text to block. So whatever the value being assigned to the variable now is going to be displayed in the player health label. And then I'm going to do some conditional checks like whether the player's health, if the player's health is reaching a value of 0, I'm going to do 3 kinds of conditional check, whether the life's value is 3 or 2 or 1, so that we can end the game as required. So click on the control block under built-in, drag and connect one if then statement. So this is the initial control check, whether the player health reaches 0. So give the required values in the equal to block. So if player's health reaches 0, we are not going to end the game as we did for the enemy's health, because we have 3 lives left with the player in terms of hearts, right? So since we are adding too many obstacles for the player, it will be difficult to compete with the spaceship. So I'm gonna give 3 extra lives to the user. So before that, whenever the player's health reaches 0, the lives value are going to get decreased by the value of 1, so that at the end, when the user has used all of his 3 lives, the game is going to end. That is, the notifier going to pop up and display the message as you are defeated. So in order to program that, we're going to add one more conditional check. For that, we can make use of if then else if then block, not the regular if then block. So if the lives label value is 3, then what are all the measures to be visible and what are all the steps to be taken, that we'll be mentioning here. So click on the drop down and change the value as global lives, and initially if the lives value is 3, I'm going to display all the 3 image components visibility to true, because initially you can see as soon as the user clicks on reset or anything, all the lives, all the heart image are going to be visible. But the moment the value player's health reaches 0, and if the lives value is 3, I'm going to reduce one value from the variable and also make one of the heart symbol to go disappear, so that it gives a feeling like one of the user or one of the lives has gone. Click on lives 1, drag and drop, set lives 1 visible to true. So lives 1 visibility is going to be true, lives 2 visibility is also going to be true, but the moment when the player reaches a health value of 0, one of the heart is going to go invisible. So I'm giving the lives 3 visibility to false, and then I'm gonna reassign the player's health value. So initially the value is reaching 0, right? Once again, when the lives got reduced, the player health is gonna be rearranged to the value of 100. To do that, click on variable, drag and connect a setter block, click on the drop down and select global player health and assign a value of 100 to it. from 0, again the player's health go to a value of 100, right? And then the lives value we're gonna get decremented by the value of 1 because he has used one of the lives, right? So once again click on variables, drag and drop a setup block, click on the drop down and change it to lives, add a subtraction block. The lives value is going to decrement it by a value of 1. Else if, so first the compiler is going to check like whether the player's health reaches 0, and then it will come to the first statement. Yes, it reaches 0, and then it will proceed to the first if statement if the lives is 3. So now we're going to mention like if the life, what if the user has left with 2 lives. So duplicate the same set of procedures. Instead of 3, give the value as 2. If the user has left with 2 lives, I want 2 of the heart images to go invisible and only lives 1 is going to be visible. So duplicate the entire set of blocks once again. And now this time only lives 1 is going to be true. So click on lives 2 and assign a value of false to it. Again, the player's health needs to be reassigned to 100 and the player's lives gonna be decremented by the value of 1. So now the last part, which is the global lives reaching a value of 1. For that, instead of else, we can make use of else if then and remove the else part. So else if it is gonna do the conditional check of if global lives reaches a value of 1. All the lives are going to be exhausted at this point. So I'm going to change the visibility of all the heart symbol to false. So duplicate all the lives value once again. Assign a value of false to all the image components. Right, so the lives ends at this point. Again the user is the player's health is reaching a value of 0. So now at this time we can end the game by calling the notifier component to display the message as the enemy has destroyed you. Since he used all of his lives, it is time to admit his defeat. So click on the notifier component, drag and drop, call notifier show message dialog block, and remember you're going to place it inside the then statement of the else if condition. Go to text, add 3 empty text strings to it, and inside the first text type in as the enemy has destroyed you. And the title as you have lost. The button text as okay, right? So when the enemy destroys you, we are gonna add one sound effect. For that we need to make use of the sound component once again, but here we need to give a different source file. Instead of shoot impact, I'm gonna give the explosion.mp3 sound file here. For that, click on sound 1. First, we need to assign a source to the sound component, like which music it must play. So duplicate any text string block and type in as explosion.mp3. There is a name I have provided in the designer's media section. You can always check it here. Explosion.mp3. That is the sound effect I'm going to give when the user has lost the game. And then I'm going to call the sound component to start playing that explosion music. Click on sound, drag and drop, call sound 1 to play. And now it's time for us to disable the clock component and the rocket. So as usual, click on clock 1. So that all the moving components from right to left, which is the alien ship, the lines from the spaceship, everything is gonna stop its motion for a while when the user is seeing the notifier component. Drag and drop clock 1 timer enabled and assign a value of false to it. Duplicate the block, click on the drop down and select clock 2. And then once again I'm gonna disable the rocket so that once the game gets complete, the rocket will not detect any of the touch from the user. Set rocket enabled to false. To occupy 20% of the canvas height, so duplicate the canvas height block and instead of 0.1 assign a value of 0.2 to it. And similarly, I want the rocket to occupy 15% of the canvas widthwise. Duplicate the same block, click on the drop down and change it to width and give the width value as 0.15 by changing the drop down value. And then when the missile collided with block in the collision detection of missile, we have reduced the enemy's health to the variable, but we forgot to display it in the enemy health label, right? So in order to do that, click on enemy health, drag and drop, set enemy health text to, duplicate the global enemy health and assign it over here. So that's it. We have completed the entire Space Impact game. If you want to add some more features to the game and want some help, you can always post it in comment section or even send a message to futurebots@gmail.com. I'll be always there to assist you. Let's meet once again for some other video.